Live from your home of proof that men use Pinterest. You're listening to Techies Talking Tech Tonight, colloquially known as T4. I'm your host, Trey Comstock, and it is Monday-ish.
It's Monday. It's not Tuesday.
It's Tuesday here. September 29th, 2014. I am joined, as ever, by executive editor Jimmy Principe.
Hello, Internet.
Hello.
I apologize for Trey's not knowing what the day is. Currently, in Central Time, it is still Monday.
Yeah, it's full-on Tuesday here. And I've been podcasting since it was still Monday, so this is, yeah.
I think we all need a drink.
It's been quite a day. So this is Techies Talking Tech Tonight. This is kind of our free-form show where we spit some hot game about some hot tech. And so
this time it's actually going to be from this century.
Yeah, we'll start there anyways.
We don't do that very much.
Currently, I have 100 feet of Cat 5 running across my apartment, so
I don't think that counts.
I had.
Is it at least Cat 5e?
I don't. Some of it is, not all of it. I provide internet to my downstairs neighbors, and legally, this is all legal, and one of their computers wouldn't connect to the new router. We reset the firmware, we restored the system, we installed updates, we uninstalled updates. She took it to two different IT departments, like, oh, something wrong with the router, despite the fact that dozens of other devices have successfully connected to this router, no problem, and it's brand spanking new. So, we tried
How many devices will a router allow?
I don't know, but it wasn't that.
That might be your problem.
But how could it be? I've added devices subsequent to it. It was just her computer. And her computer was not the last thing added. We even hardwired it, and it wouldn't connect.
That's weird.
Yeah, no, it was really weird. So now I have run them their own router, and I currently have 100 feet of network cable stretching across the entire apartment, running from my router to the other router.
Because that makes sense.
Well, it worked. She's now able to access the internet. It worked. Problem solved. Is this possibly the least efficient solution? Not the least efficient solution. At one point, there was a network switch involved in this solution.
I need a network switch in my life. So.
I have two.
Are either of them gigabit?
One of them is, yeah.
How many ports?
5. It's just a standard 5.
See, I kind of want the 8-port Netgear, like commercial standard one. You know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
I want that one. It's like $40. It's not bad.
Yeah, the one I bought bought today was $20 because I didn't know if just an inline connector was going to do it or if there'd be enough power since I'm pushing over 100 feet of network cable. Turns out fine. Yeah, no, they have internet now.
It's easier than you would have thought it would be?
No, easier would be that stupid HP connecting. That was easy. We were over, this is like... Networking's great until it breaks and you don't know why.
Trey, we solved networking, okay?
No, we haven't. This is really why we don't have the future that we all really want.
I did actually, we discussed this on a recent show. I did actually tell one of my coworkers last week as we were dealing with trying to convert. So I changed out my work computer last week, which was just the biggest pain in the ass because it's actually living two identities because my computer's attempting to connect to two separate domains at the same time on the same network.
Jeez.
Because we haven't fully taken down our domain. So we were bought out, right? So we haven't fully taken down our domain yet, and yet we're still trying to use services on their domain, like network licenses and things like that. So my new computer is on their domain.
Right, yeah.
But all of my crap that I need to access is on my domain, on our domain. Jeez. And so... the computer's just I don't know.
Put it on a flash drive. Just
it's like I don't know, man. I just try. Well, so that's been and I reminded people as we continue to have printer issues, as there are people on my so we're about 50-50 right now. Half of us are on the new company's domain, and half of us are on the old company's domain. No, I'm not on the old company's domain anymore. Well, they had to move all of the printers over to the new company's domain in order to make all of the new computers be able to print to the printers. Jeez. And what that did was that subsequently broke. So for whatever reason, that the printer guy, the corporate IT guy, and the sysadmin, no one can figure out why the printers are not working on the old machines now, because they should. There's no reason why they shouldn't.
But
we can't figure out why. But combination of networking and printer drivers, you have a perfect storm of totally fucked.
Well, I live a lot of my life in the Emory University system, and each school has their own, within the graduate schools, has their own IT department. And so each school within the university has slightly different things they do. So everyone's using the same network printer software now, but each...
progress, man.
Not though. Each school has their own implementation of that, such that if you install the printer set up for, say, the Rollins School of Public Health, you cannot then execute a print job at the Candler School of Theology or at the undergraduate library, each of which have their own protocols. Same system, Pharos or whatever. But
so I actually had this problem at UT. I used to have to... So there was a way that you could get to all of the printers on campus. But what you had to do is you had to VPN into the main print lab at the library. The main print lab at the library was connected to every printer on campus.
No, see, this isn't what this is. There's a school specific implementation of the program. So you have to download this. I think it's Pharos. You have to download Pharos to be able to print to the network printer. But you can only download one version of Pharos. Have one version of Pharos installed at a time, and that version is only going to recognize the printers that it is specifically specified for. It's a mess. My solution: OneDrive. I just sit down at a iMac in the library, and I bring it up that way.
That reminds me, so that's something else that we can possibly talk about. My possible replacement for my graphics card. So I used OneDrive this weekend, and I've discovered that it doesn't work the way I thought it did.
What does that mean?
So what I did was I took 1,800 pictures this weekend at my brother. My brother is in the UVA marching band. And I took 1,800 pictures because 7D plus high-speed continuous equals lots of pictures of action. And a 70 to 300 telephoto. Unfortunately, I missed the focus on one of these pictures, and so I'm focused on the background instead of the foreground, and the foreground is him. So I'm like, damn. But anyways, so what I did was I had my laptop with me. I downloaded all the pictures to my laptop into OneDrive with the thought that they were going to push, because I have OneDrive installed on my desktop, which is where I do all my photo editing, with the thought that it would then push it up to my desktop and I could remote desktop in and work on my pictures on my actual desktop. And then while I was on the plane coming back, I could do a little bit of local editing because I do have Lightroom on my laptop. I could do a little bit of local editing and just looking through the pictures. So I downloaded all of them, pushed them all up to OneDrive. They'd all downloaded on this end. I got on the plane, no Wi-Fi. Open the laptop up, nothing. I have all of the pictures, basically what OneDrive did, and it makes sense to me now. So I have an Office 365 subscription, so I have 1 terabyte of OneDrive, and so I pushed. It was something like 10 gigs of photos up to OneDrive, and then the computer said, okay, and I don't need any of once it got them all uploaded, it said, okay, I don't need any of this anymore, and it deleted all of them. Because I had not told OneDrive that I wanted it to synchronize that folder and keep it stored locally.
Interesting. Okay.
So, which is good, actually, on the laptop. And now that I know that that's how it works, I'm going to use it more. But I would have organized my pictures differently, and I would have told it, because I had the space, I would have told it, save these pictures on the computer, and I'll tell you when I get back that I don't want you to save them anymore. So it didn't. I would have assumed that by default, because I'm used to Dropbox, I would have assumed by default that it would keep the local copy on my machine and that it would just push it up to the cloud and then down to the other end.
That would make sense.
But what I did on the other end was it's all imported into. Actually, I need to verify that. Actually, I don't know if it did what I thought it did. What I thought I did was I thought I pulled it all down into my local folder structure within Lightroom and stored it in my photos folder.
Mm-hmm.
And it does appear that that is in fact what I did. It looks like I copied them all into my folder appropriately. So, but yeah, it was OneDrive just not working the way I was expecting it to work.
Well, so it's a little different than the way the Dropbox thing works, and maybe that's because of its level of integration with Windows 8.
And I think that partially it's also that because Microsoft is looking at OneDrive as supplementing your storage.
I don't know about that though, because it's the default storage location in Office 365. It's the default storage location that my Surface Pro just kind of looks at, and it's
right,
why
in the sense that Microsoft thinks of OneDrive as a separate drive.
Yeah, no, it does.
You have C and you have OneDrive.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas with Dropbox goes, okay, I'm a folder in C.
Right. And that's what I mean by because of its level of integration with the operating system. Right. Microsoft looks at that and goes, "You're a hard drive." Not looks at that and goes, "You're crazy." I mean,
so it worked. I mean, it works really well, but it's just really, once again, just not what I was expecting.
Sure, yeah.
But anyways, you got something new this week.
So I was hoping to talk about this last week, but then the shipping didn't work. So I have Disney Infinity. This is the worst name in the industry. Disney Infinity 2.0 Marvel Superheroes Edition. It is phone. It might as well be Microsoft. Although this is more of an Apple affiliated company. So what it is it's Disney's second entry in its what's called the Toys for Life category. So the kind of the Skylanders thing where there's the plastic figures and the game disc. It's not an appropriate place to lift Scarlett Johansson up by. You have the figures, and then you put a game disc in your system. You hook up the portal, or base station, I think is the language they use in Disney Infinity. Portal is Skylanders. And your figures then play in the video game. And what I will say about Disney Infinity 2.0 Marvel Superheroes Edition, and I'm playing the Avengers playset, which is what comes with it. There are other playsets. There's a Guardians of the Galaxy and there's a Spider-Man playset currently available. Each of those are sold separately at $40 and require the base station and the game disc, which are themselves $75. So you're in some money. And then if you want figures that don't come with either of those things, so for instance Groot, which is something that I want desperately, those are each additionally $15 over on top of that, and they're still just plastic with RFIDs. All of that being said, given that these are plastic with RFIDs, the gameplay within the game is, guess what? It's aimed at children. And Disney Infinity skews a little younger in terms of gameplay sophistication than does Skylanders. So Skylanders, you kind of think of being aimed at preteens, which means really older elementary school kids. And this is aimed like at that solid middle of the elementary school market in terms of gameplay difficulty. Now, it's wrapped in kind of franchises that a lot of other people have attachment to. And I'll tell you, the game is fun. The combat's, it's really easy. But you can do dumb things like you can play co-op, couch co-op, and you can pick up the other player and throw them. And so I was doing this to Sydney over and over and over again. And I just thought it was the funniest darn thing. Each of the characters control very differently. You really notice you've put Iron Man instead of Black Widow because Iron Man can fly, and Black Widow can't, for instance. Full flight, these little rocket jets, but he can fly and hover and stuff. Mm-hmm. The game itself basically functions as an open world game where you're going around and just doing fetch quests and little combat missions. It's dead easy, but we're definitely having fun with it. A lot of the reviewers that I've read,
because it's easy doesn't mean that there's not some value there.
It's fun. The voice acting's pretty good, which makes a big difference.
Oh, yeah. It's not a given either.
No, it's not a given, but it's something Disney's clearly invested in. Their fake Samuel L. Jackson sounds like a pretty decent Samuel L. Jackson, because Nick Fury gives you the instructions. Which is going to work great when they do Disney Infinity 3.0 Star Wars Edition, and then they need
Harrison Ford.
No, they're going to need Samuel L. Jackson again. Mace Windu.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So when they
I was thinking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're going to need the 2 different Obi-Wans and the 2 different Annies, the 3 different Annies. Well, Annie, Anakin, and James Earl Jones. So they're going to need
they have lots of Disney has lots of
money,
voice information on James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones, yeah.
Between the Lion King,
they could probably create a James Earl Jones Vocaloid at this point.
Probably
Hatsune
could.
Miku, except it's James Earl Jones.
How much more awesome would that be, though?
Yeah, that's so much better than a Japanese digital pop star. If you just had a vocal.
I am your father.
No, but then I could order Chick-fil-A using the James Earl Jones Vocaloid on my iPhone.
I would pay money for that.
I'd pay a lot of money for that.
I'd pay lots of money for that.
But so the real standout feature of Disney Infinity isn't actually the games itself. It's what's called the toy box. And what the toy box is it's literally that. It's a digital toy box where you can use any figure you want. You have all of these different primitives and things you can design with, and you can build your own games and environments in the toy box and then share them online.
Oh, that's cool.
So it has a Minecraft design your own level element baked into its core. And that's really kind of the core value proposition of Disney Infinity over against Skylanders. So Skylanders is you play this one set game and you need to buy different figures to unlock different aspects of that game. And Disney Infinity takes that to a slightly more nefarious level. So you have 4 different games you can play, but you have to buy different figures and different things. And so, if you were to unlock all of the content that is Disney Infinity, you're in at least $150. And that's assuming you buy no additional figures except what comes with things.
But Disney Infinity is just a perfect example of Disney's kind of overall strategy with how they make money. So they release content. So whether that's Marvel, whether that's The Lion King, whether that's Aladdin, whether that's whatever, or Cars. And then they try to turn that franchise into money in every single aspect they possibly can, including in the past action figures.
Sure.
And various different merchandising, and then selling things at their theme parks. And
but with this, there's this other mode that's totally creative, and you could sink hundreds of hours into building your. I'm going to try to be ongoing story of this. I'm going to try to build a MOBA within Disney Infinity's toy box.
Right, I did remember that was your goal.
That's my goal. Is I'm going to try to build a MOBA because I think you can do it because you can spawn enemies. You can spawn enemies. So think creeps. You could probably do it. You may not be able to make it. You might be able to make it competitive multiplayer. I don't know. I'm going to have to play with this. But you have this whole creativity space where you can build anything you want. Last year someone built the city from BioShock Infinite in Disney Infinity.
Oh, wow.
Stuff like that. You can do crazy stuff because you have design primitives. And it comes with 2 games that they've built for you in the toy box. One's like a Diablo clone and one's a tower defense game. But you can do all of these kind of things. And when you play in the normal games, you're unlocking points that you then spend in unlocking more things for your toy box. But you start out even with hundreds of options for the toy box. So that's, to me, where the value is. The value is not in the individual game experience, which is only going to... Each little game, which I think $40, you're going to finish in 5 or 6 hours at best. Maybe shorter than that. So that's not...
It's also the stickiness of the platform. That's the thing that can keep you coming back.
Well, the other thing is, if you are the kind of person who does not think action figures have inherent value, this is not for you. Just fundamentally, part of what you're buying is this piece of plastic. And if you don't care about small pieces of plastic, then this isn't... Toys for Life makes no sense for you. I happen to be a person who... And I'm going to do this, okay? Taking the camera. Who has an entire desk littered in tiny pieces of plastic. That I have dozens of Lego minifigs. There's a...
It's really the minifigs I think get you.
There's a Ghostbusters action figure that's Ray. I have Duck Satan over here.
I need to build a new minifig.
I have the head of Spock that I keep as my vanquished enemy.
It's always good to keep the heads of one's vanquished enemies.
I made Sydney a Spock action figure with my head on it, and so I had to cut the head off the Spock, and so now he sits on my soundboard as my vanquished enemy. So, like, to me, having these figures are very well done. I really like them. They have lots of detail. Their poses are really cool. I really like the figures. So to me, is it a great value proposition? No. But if I were 8, it would be amazing because you could play for hours with the toys and then play for hours in the game, in the toy box, and build your own worlds for your action figures. Both in the digital world and in the real world. And that is valuable. So a lot of people kind of hate on the Toys to Life category, but I have said over and over again, I don't hate it. I think this is a great way, and they're both really family-friendly games. I think this is a great way to get kids to spend money on gaming, at least in a way that gives them some real value. They get to play with the figures. They get to play with them in the games.
Right, because it gives you something tangible.
And the figures, both Disney Infinity and Skylanders both do great jobs with these figures. I mean, they're usually really cool looking. Because that's half the draw. I mean, I used to pay, what did we pay? Like $6-7 for an action figure?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was in that range.
And these are basically twice that. Disney Infinity characters are like $15, which admittedly isn't cheap.
You also have to look at the fact that there's also inflation.
Sure. So you take inflation into account, and the fact that these also integrate with a video game.
They're probably worth $15.
Again, this is not for you if you don't find value in little pieces of plastic shaped like things you like. If as I am, you are into little bits of plastic that are shaped like things you like, then this is great. I'm hoping I'm going to build my MOBA. I'm enjoying the game, and I have Thor, which admittedly his movies are awful. I have Black Widow. You have to be careful how you pick her up, or it could be really inappropriate for a kids show. And I have this really awesome Iron Man that looks just like the movies, and their voice actor sounds kind of like, Robert Downey Jr. So, I mean, but don't buy this if you think you're going to have like a 40-hour gameplay experience. You have to to get your gaming money out of it, you need to be into the toy box mode. And that's why I think this is the better value. And that's why I went with this platform and not Skylanders.
Rather than Skylanders. Because I remember you were on the edge of which one you wanted to do.
Yeah, and I almost
So it was really both. The toy box mode is what set you over the edge?
I think the toy box mode is innovative. I think the toy box mode is more about where gaming's going. So it's more like DayZ and Minecraft, which is just something you keep doing forever. And that's what the kids these days are doing. Right. The kind of market that Disney Infinity is playing in are the kids that are really into Minecraft. And here you have something that you can use these characters that you're invested in and build your own Minecraft world or your own game or your own whatever. I think it's a much more modern experience. Because modern is about gameplay, yeah, but this kind of perpetual be able to build your own thing. And you can do that in Disney Infinity. I think they looked a lot further forward. I mean, Skylanders is basically a third-person action game with action figures. And that's great. And they're making gangbusters on this. And it's cool. Like, I'm not knocking Skylanders. I really did almost buy it. But it seemed a little weird for me that, like, even the game I bought, I couldn't finish that game with the figures that came with it. You had to buy additional figures. I can finish the Avengers game with the figures I have. If I wanted to then play the Guardians of the Galaxy game, I'd need to buy that for $40, but it comes with figures. So that philosophy for me was a little cleaner, and felt a little less nefarious, oddly.
Right.
But to me,
but Disney's usually not nefarious in these things.
No,
they charge you a premium price, but they give you a premium product for that price.
So, like, Sydney and I went to Disney World for a honeymoon. And do you pay a lot for food at Disney? Heck yeah, you do. Is that food really good? Whether you're at the cheapest quick service stand or the nicest restaurant? Absolutely. That food is always high quality. Everything within a Disney experience at the parks is like super high quality. Do you pay a lot of money? Oh yeah, you do. But you get something for it.
I heard it described this way today, that the one of the mentalities of Disney parks going a ways back was if the parks were too crowded and you were having difficulty keeping them clean, which is a big thing for Disney. It used to be that you would never see trash in a Disney park. Now that's not true anymore, but it's still almost true.
They have you never see trash moved. They have we do the backstage stuff. They have tunnels underneath the thing to move trash and people.
And so the fact that they what they would do is they would increase the price because it would basically make it so that the people that they didn't want, so it would thin the crowds out. And in general, those that didn't really want to be there wouldn't go.
Right.
And so they would get a higher quality clientele and they would have a better, they'd be able to provide a better product. And so it was good for everybody. And so this is something that Disney apparently was well known for doing. It's one of the reasons why Disney charges a premium price for things, because they can. They're Disney.
Well, they can, but I don't.
They give you a premium product for a premium price.
It's the same way I feel about Apple, which is funny because they share board members like hell. I mean, at one point, before his death, Steve Jobs was the largest shareholder of Disney thanks to the Pixar thing.
The Pixar purchase,
So, this is not the connection isn't lost on me, but I think Disney Infinity does that same thing, and some of it is just they have the franchises I care about. I don't care about Skylanders. Like, I get Spyro, and that's actually from back from the PS1 days, and that's interesting. But, I care about The Avengers, or Guardians of the Galaxy, or next... I keep saying Star Wars like it's a fact, but let's be clear. The Star Wars movie comes out next year, so...
Yeah, no, next year is going to be a big year for Disney.
Because they have your bottom dollar.
Avengers 2 is coming out next year.
Yeah, right, and that's part of what this is about.
And
then Star Wars.
And Star Wars.
And so in October, they're going to be the ramp up to Star Wars, and you better bet there's going to be Disney Infinity Star Wars Edition, Disney Infinity 3.0 Star Wars Edition, and you know what? I will wait in line for that thing. Hell yeah.
Me and all the moms.
Me and all the moms will be standing in line, and they will look at me like I am the creepiest person, and I will stand there and smile because I'm going to get my Hans.
You are the creepiest person.
I am the creepiest person. As much as I like Groot and Rocket Raccoon and Iron Man, and I do, I have some, I'm more of a DC guy, but I got some Marvel love for Guardians of the Galaxy and Avengers, specifically. Screw Spider-Man. Screw Spider-Man. He's just a whiny, bug-infected dude. Can't stand him. I'm okay with the X-Men. The X-Men cartoon when we were kids was great. That was a great intro to the X-Men. I think they've done some weird things. But, I like the X-Men, I like the Avengers, I like Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm in the Marvel Universe enough that I care, but I am into Han Solo and Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Since I was a kid. I have Han Solo everything. Here is my Han Solo with Mickey ears. Oddly fortuitous. This was made before the acquisition. Yeah. So, I will be in line for Disney Infinity 3.0 Star Wars Edition. And I don't care. I will buy all of it. I am just going to bank $200 right now. I'm going to spend $200 minimum on Disney Infinity 3.0 Star Wars.
That's a terrifying proposition.
I don't care. I'm going to spend so much money next year, it's not even funny. Because, all of the Star Wars crap that's going to be around, yeah. I mean, I may even just have to go to Comic-Con to buy even better stuff.
You're crazy.
Now, I am into the new Star Wars movies. They just released a teaser video that is the exterior of the full mock-up of the Millennium Falcon that they have.
No way.
They've built a life-size mock-up Millennium Falcon for exterior shots.
Oh, wow.
There's a YouTube video out there of it. There's also drone footage of a drone flying over it. So you just see it there in what looks like the Top Gear text track, because it's an airfield in England. Yeah. No, it's coming.
I hope that Google Maps captures this.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That would be an awesome Google Maps Easter egg.
So, Jimmy, what's your thing?
So my thing this week... So I will admit it. I'm on Pinterest.
Girls just wanna Pinterest.
Girls
wanna Pinterest.
So yes.
Yep.
I am on Pinterest.
I'm so sorry.
And
I used to respect you.
So it originally was the only person that I was connected to on Pinterest was your wife.
Yep. She's on Pinterest. She loves it.
It was
Pinterest.
a way for me to get recipes from your wife.
Yep.
It was through Pinterest.
That works.
Now my girlfriend is on Pinterest, and it's a way for me to propose recipes to her by repinning recipes that she's pinned. Yes, make that. That looks good. Yes, yes, we should make that too.
Is this a 21st century way of getting her to make you a sandwich?
No, actually, usually I end up being the one that makes the sandwiches from Pinterest.
I make the sandwiches. Okay, good. We got a
show title.
I make the sandwiches. Wrong computer. I make
But anyways, so I'm on Pinterest.
Yep.
And interestingly, Pinterest has really been targeting recently, at least I feel like, it's really targeting the men on Pinterest because it's not really talked about the fact that dudes are on Pinterest. And most of what guys are doing on Pinterest is exactly what I'm doing. We're just posting, like, pinning recipes.
I thought they were pinning pornography. I thought that was the big thing.
No. That's the dark side of Pinterest.
I mean, isn't there an entire community of men pinning porn?
Wherever you go, there's an entire.
Yeah, that's Rule 34. Okay, yes. So Pinterest got Rule 34. Like
men equals
else.
Porn.
Yeah. Okay. The internet equals porn.
It's really, really great.
For porn. Yep. Okay. Keep going.
I've got a fast connection, so I don't have to wait.
For porn.
So, anyways, I got two emails in the last kind of week or so
that they have porn.
Very interesting. No, not porn. So the first one was one word: steak.
Yeah, Sydney got that one too.
Sydney got that one too. So I at first I was like, this was like an oddly man-targeted pin. Today was BYOB, brew your own beer.
Interesting.
All about like home brew and these pins about like how to make beer and homemade beer recipes and homebrew gadgets. And this is just in the email I got.
Wow.
4 awesome TED Talks about craft beer, which I'm totally going to watch. I just saw that. But just, it really indicates to me that like Pinterest, although it is definitely as I have said to many people, there are two boards that every single woman on Pinterest has.
Your
future home
and
wedding
board. Yeah.
And they're either public or private.
But they exist. They're out there.
They exist. And the funny thing is that I did tell this to my girlfriend on our like third date, and she fessed up 2 months later that I hit the nail on the head, and that night she went home and deleted those 2 boards. Or no, she thinned. How did she phrase it? She thinned out those 2 boards.
That's really funny.
They still exist.
That's really funny.
But so it's really like trying to get guys, I guess, to engage in Pinterest.
Well, it's interesting because that's the 50% of the web that most sites don't worry about. There are very few things kind of in the mainstream internet, and maybe coming out of gaming culture, this is especially true, that like generally sites that, tech forward sites that are kind of the latest thing are mostly guys, and then women, because who knows why? It's the tech industry, it's the internet, it's the injustice baked into the system.
And I think it's just because, in general, those creating the products are men.
Right, which is a part of the problem.
Themselves.
Right, and that's part of the problem. And so you end up with, for instance, in video games, which is the thing I'm most familiar with, it's a never-ending succession of male protagonists and terrible things said about, well, we just didn't think a female protagonist would work with our demographic. And he's like, oh, God.
But that's the best thing about the new Tomb Raider is that...
Well, Tomb Raider's always been a chick.
But it's always been a chick. That's why I said the new Tomb Raider.
Where she's a little...
Tomb Raider's always been a sexualized version of Indiana Jones.
Well,
except for the young Lara Croft stuff.
Right. No, but I mean the latest, this newest reboot of Tomb Raider, she is weirdly vulnerable. And in a way that's good, that makes for interesting gameplay. But some of the things the developer said about, inspiring your need to protect Lara, and
that's a good point.
And there's a scene that's like borderline about sexual harassment, and it's better. She looks like a human now. Now, why on earth she's still running around in a spaghetti-strapped shirt? God only knows.
Style.
But it's a little less than like the hypersexual polygonal triangle breast thing. I mean, it's gotten better. I didn't love, but I liked the new Tomb Raider.
I enjoyed it. It was good. It wasn't great, but it was good.
My problem with it in the end wasn't Lara. It was the camera controls. Coming out of Assassin's Creed, which has such great camera controls, except when you're platforming, the fact that I couldn't just like turn a stick and look around, like
no, okay,
I
that's
couldn't
true.
get into it. I just like
playing.
I got into was playing through the first hour or so, and there's like I have to stop. This is awful. Like it's not inherently a bad game. I just could not get past the camera controls. And look, Tomb Raider has historically had some awful controls. You go back and play those early games now, they are unplayable. Unplayable. Some hot garbage. And so this game, certainly, this most recent game, there's a new one coming, Microsoft exclusive Holiday 2015. There will be a new Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, I believe it's called. Like Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Or Rise, Son of Rome.
Rise, Son of Rome. One of my favorite games of 2014. Game of the year, 2015.
2013, I believe.
2013. No, it's the rate this is going to be this year's Game of the Year. So on that note, it's probably time to get out of here. Quick programming note. Next week, we will be talking about Shadows of Mordor. Or, excuse me, Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. It is getting remarkably good reviews in a year that has been really sour on hugely hyped games.
I need you to play it so I know whether or not I should play it.
I am hoping to pick it up tomorrow or in the very near term. So that's coming. That will definitely be on the show. There's something else. Oh, Forza Horizons 2 also comes out this week. Probably I'm only going to have time to get to one of those. So I'm going to go to Shadow of Mordor first, because I think that is looking like it will be in our Game of the Year discussion. I haven't played it. I'm just going off of Metacritic and the reviews.
What's the Metacritic score? Hang on.
It's got to be in the high 80s. Going on kind of the reviewers that I trust and believe in, and what they've been saying about the game, it looks like this
right now
it's
an 85, and Forza Horizon 2 is an 86.
Yeah, so those are both sounding phenomenal. So I'm going to have to play both of them, is what that means. I may make...
Hey, you'll never believe it, but The Last of Us Remastered is currently the top game by Metascore.
You don't say.
95.
One of the best games of last generation, ported to this generation so it runs even better. And turns out great story and great gameplay are more important than graphics, but not...
They win.
They win. So yeah, next week, be Shadows of Mordor. Probably not Forza Horizon. That will probably be in 2 weeks. But yeah, it's game season, y'all, and they are coming thick and fast. So then we really do need to leave. Thank you so much for joining us. Feedback, podcast@textlesscall.com, Facebook.com/textlesscall, Pinterest.com, whether you're a man or a woman, /textlesscall, or @textlesscall on the Twitters. Good night.